recently talked about Firefly and whether or not I thought it should get a new season, but it's far from the only show that ended before it was supposed to. Another one that comes to mind is Dark Angel, which had a pretty short run and ended up only airing for 2 seasons. A third season was planned, but it was cancelled before it was realized.
Can my life suck any harder?
Dark Angel was a sci-fi series with cyberpunk elements, set in the near future, centered around a woman born from the results of genetic experiments, and she's trying to get by in a post-apocalyptic Seattle. The reason for the post-apocalyptic appearance of Seattle and the rest of the world is that a huge electromagnetic pulse took out the vast majority of electronics and technology, which set back the advancements quite a bit. So technology isn't as readily available to the general public as it used to be.
This was supposed to be the financial district back in the day. America really thought they had it dialed in, money hanging out the butt. But it was all just a bunch of ones and zeros and a computer someplace. So when that bomb went kablooey and the electromagnetic pulse turned all the ones and zeros into plain old zeros, everyone's like, no way. Now America's just another broke ex-superpower looking for a handout and wondering why.
A corporation called Manticore had been working in the shadows, creating humans crossbred with genetics from other species, called transgenics. The main character is a result of the genetic experiments.
So what, you're a mutant?
Guess you could say that.
The main character, Max, was created by Manticore for the sole purpose of being a soldier, but ever since she escaped them, they've been trying to hunt her down. The main part of the plot revolves around her fighting them, both for her own freedom and for that of others like her.
Suppose I could help you locate the other ones.
The other ones?
The other ones like you.
Max receives help in fighting Manticore from the friends she makes along the way, while also trying to live her life.
I have to deal with some gangsters trying to kill my boss.
Okay.
It's not uncommon to hear that plot elements introduced in Season 2 were the downfall of Dark Angel, and some even go as far as to blame the character Joshua for killing the show. I like Joshua, and even though I'm sure a lot of people didn't, since that's true for every character in every show ever, I don't think he'd be powerful enough to kill the show all on his own. The first season had a good amount of viewers, and James Cameron, one of the creators, apparently said that he didn't know whether the new time slot would end up impacting the show in a bad way or not. In hindsight, I think it's fair to say that it ended up impacting the show badly, since it started airing during the Friday night death slot. It definitely didn't help that the show rated high among 18 to 24-year-olds, which are probably among the least likely to be staying indoors on a Friday watching TV.
I just want to play it. It's like a guitar.
Charles H. Egley, the show's other creator, has also admitted that the show was routinely over budget, which might explain why it was just barely renewed for a second season. And if I'd been a conspiracy theorist, I might suggest that maybe Fox put it in a death slot on purpose because they'd rather kill it than keep paying for it. But Season 3 had apparently been approved before the show was cancelled, and I don't think that Fox would do that if they'd planned on killing it.
What, you thought it just was gonna let you die?
Yes, actually, they don't like me too much.
The last episode of Dark Angel aired in 2002, and it's pretty hard to gloss over the fact that the characters will have aged. Aging is something that happens to humans, and it tends to change both how they look and how they act. There are many ways of working around it though, like, for example, moving the plot further into the future to accommodate it. You can also choose not to address it and just have people accept that the characters look different now. Recasting is also an option, albeit a risky one since you inevitably end up changing the show by doing it. They never made a movie or anything to follow up the TV series, so they haven't boxed themselves in plot-wise, so technically they could make the Season 3 they planned. The only thing that could possibly interfere with the plot would be the 3 novels written by Max Allan Collins, but if they follow the intended direction of the plot they can just use their contents, and if they don't they can write them out of the canon, which isn't unheard of with books belonging to movies or TV series franchise. So, should they make a Season 3 of Dark Angel? Technically they could, but as someone close to me pointed out, the style of the show wouldn't work in today's media landscape, and I can't really argue with that. They'd either have to make it in its original style, despite the risk of it feeling outdated, or they'd have to revamp it and risk having it feel awkward. But the saving grace in Dark Angel's cancellation is that the last episode of Season 2 actually worked as a season finale, because even though things looked dark, there was a tangible ray of hope that shone through.
Now look what you've done.
Perhaps the show was coincidentally cancelled right where it needed to end. But if you, like me, miss Dark Angel sometimes, I highly recommend playing this.
The box is inside there? That's bad. That's very bad.